Have you ever driven past a massive new skyscraper or seen a sprawling wind farm on the horizon and just stopped and thought, who on earth pays for all of this? We're talking billions with a B. Well, today, we're pulling back the curtain on the super complex world of international project finance to see exactly how these mega projects go from a simple blueprint to a towering reality.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to tackle that billion-dollar question head-on. Then, we'll introduce you to the financial matchmakers who connect all the dots. We'll follow the money to see where it comes from, break down the art of actually structuring the deals, and finally, we'll see why success is about so much more than just a big check. All right, let's dive right in with the most fundamental challenge, the billion-dollar question. You know, it's one thing to have an amazing blueprint for a skyscraper, but how do you actually get the steel, the concrete, and, most importantly, the capital to make it real? I mean, just look at this. The sheer scale of modern construction and energy projects is absolutely mind-boggling. We see these incredible structures literally shaping our world, but the financial architecture behind them, it's just as complex and just as impressive as the physical engineering. This is really the core question, isn't it? It's not like you can just walk into your local bank and ask for $1 billion loan to build a solar farm. It takes a completely different level of financial strategy, of global connection. So how is it done? Well, the answer, surprisingly often, lies with a very specific kind of company, a dedicated financial partner. Think of them as a kind of financial matchmaker. And this is exactly where a specialized financial partner comes into play. Their entire job, their whole purpose is to bridge that massive gap. They connect these amazing, ambitious projects that need funding with a global network of institutions that have the capital. But they don't just find the money. They are the architects of the entire deal. And we're not talking local here. Their reach is truly global. These kinds of financial networks are active in more than 25 countries, creating this incredible web of capital that stretches across continents, from Europe to Asia to North America. The scale of the money involved is just immense. Through this kind of network, they've channeled over $2.8 billion into projects. Just take a second to think about that number. It's a truly staggering amount of investment being put to work to build the world around us. And this isn't just theory, it's proven, real-world experience. That capital has fueled more than 150 successful projects in some of the most critical sectors, from the renewable energy plants that are going to power our future to the tech infrastructure that connects all of it. Okay, so we've got the matchmaker, but where exactly are they getting billions and billions of dollars? That brings us to our next big question. Let's unlock some global capital. A huge source of this funding comes from what are called development finance institutions, or DFIs. Now, these are not your typical commercial banks. They're often backed by governments, and they have a specific mission to fund projects that have a real development impact. They offer the kind of favorable, long-term financing that really makes these giant projects possible in the first place. And we're talking about some of the biggest financial players on the entire planet. You're looking at giants like the IFC, that's the private sector arm of the World Bank Group, and massive regional players like the development banks for Europe and Asia. These are the true heavyweights of global finance. But it's not just those huge institutions. Another major channel is direct government incentives, especially from blocs like the European Union. They create these dedicated funds to spur innovation, to push green initiatives, and to leverage private investment, all designed to pour capital into their most important strategic priorities. And then there's a third, really clever source, export credit agencies. So let's say your project in one country needs to buy some high-tech turbines from another country. An ECA from the turbine maker's home country will actually help finance that purchase. It's a total win-win. The project gets the best tech, and the exporting country boosts its own industry. Okay, so we have the players, and we have the capital. But how does that money actually flow into the project? This is where we get into the real mechanics of structuring the deal, what you could call the art of the term sheet. One of the smartest tools in the entire project finance toolkit is the idea of a grace period. A billion-dollar project doesn't start making money on day one, right? So the financing is structured to give it some breathing room. During construction, payments might just cover the interest. Then, as it starts operating, the payments are smaller and they grow over time. Only when the project hits a stable operational level does the full repayment really kick in. And this is absolutely crucial for success. And here's another key idea. The financing has to make sense for the asset itself. The loan terms are specifically designed to match its economic life. A solar farm is built to last for decades, so it gets a loan with a really long maturity, say 15 to 25 years. You'd never finance a 30-year infrastructure project with a 5-year loan. The structure just has to make economic sense. Of course, for such a massive investment, lenders need security. This usually happens in a few key ways. First, the project's own assets, the land, the equipment, its future revenue, all serve as collateral. Then, the project sponsor might also provide corporate guarantees. And finally, there are often really strict cash management rules in place to make sure the loans get paid back first, no matter what.
But here is a really critical insight, and maybe the most important part of this whole thing. It is never just about the money. A check for $1 billion is basically useless without the expertise to actually deploy it. This brings us to the final, crucial layer, the support that goes way beyond the capital itself.
Let's take a real-world example, like a renewable energy project. Getting a massive wind farm like this financed and built is incredibly complex. It requires very specific, industry-level expertise. You see, the financial partner has to understand the real nitty-gritty of the industry. That means building financial models that can account for 25-year energy contracts, knowing exactly which lenders specialize in wind turbine technology, and even creating flexible financing for brand new tech like green hydrogen. This is deep, specialist knowledge. And this support structure, it really wraps around the entire project. We're talking detailed feasibility studies, navigating incredibly complex international legal and bidding processes, managing risk, ensuring environmental and social compliance, and basically managing the entire execution from the first dollar to the final sign-off. And you know, this one quote from the source material really just says it all. Success in project finance requires more than capital. It demands expertise, relationships, and unwavering commitment to execution excellence. The money is just the fuel. The expertise, well, that's the engine. So, there you have it. We've deconstructed the financial architecture behind our modern world. We've seen how these visionary ideas get matched with global capital and wrapped in layers of expertise to become reality. Which leaves us with one final, pretty exciting question to think about. What future will be built next?